Okay, I'm in the terminal, or the EasyJet terminal here. I guess I'm in whatever, and I'm pressing Shift F11. And now here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the financial model. I'm not going to review it again, and we're going to make a acquisition model. Okay, and there'll be quite a bit of accounting here. The most fundamental part of this is a very simple cash flow analysis. Okay, and let's buy this company, and to buy this company, the first thing, I think what we should do is put some. It seems like there's a background noise. Okay, let's put some transaction. Okay. Assumptions. Now, this is going to be bad, I can see. Okay. And now we'll start with the date. That's the first thing. Now we put the things in the year. Now I'm going to buy it at the very end of 2014. We could buy it at a different date. We couldn't buy it really in the middle of the year. It's a pain. I suppose you could do this, but if you did that, we should really have a quarterly or monthly or some other kind of model. Okay, and then let's put EV to EBITDA, because this is kind of and let's assume you make a 6 times EV to EBITDA, and then let's put EBITDA, and this one will get from the other one. Now here's the biggest thing about doing all of this is let's put a column number, and that's come on, and we'll just put match, and then we go back to and we click on the time period. So that says we're in column 12, and then we can put index, and we can go to our financial model, and we can really, I think, focus on the financial statements here, and of course, and that's the whole reason I just did that. Okay, and that means we're going to pay if it's on the basis of a historic. We can put our enterprise value. Okay, and now I think this is a kind of nice, simple example. These numbers are so horribly big, I'm gonna make the, come on. And so that's how much we're paying. We're only paying 6 times EV to EBITDA. Okay. And let's put the payment, and let's put USD to MNT. I don't know what that is right now. And then we'll put EV in USD. Okay, that's our starting point. And now why don't we put net cash? Okay, and we put index. And again, we're going to add that cash. And what we can do here is when we start getting our balance sheet numbers, we could just clicking on our index, and then we go back to the column number, and we just get our net cash balance, and then we can put equity. Whoops. Now, if we paid this much for the what? Then we can put our equity. And you remember, normally we take our enterprise value and to get your equity, you subtract the net debt. This time we're going to add that. So, oops, that's how much we're. Come on, what happened there? Shift Control 1. That's how much we're. That's what we're paying for the equity. Okay, and we could even put implied. Why don't we put earnings, and we put equal index, and as we have done on everything else, we put this, and we put a comma, and you notice I'm getting everything just from the financials, and then we can put implied PE. At least we could call it PE transaction, multiple. So we have our equity consideration divided by this. So we're paying about 8 times earnings. That's a different. That's a little bit different there. Okay. This is how much we're going to have to pay to get the company. Okay, this is what we're going to give the owners of the company. Now let's put financing. After this we'll put financing. Now normally we would have some debt retirements. This time let's simply first put how much debt we're going to get, and I think what we're going to do is make the debt. How about the debt percent? Now we decided to make this debt percent 5 divided by 6. And then we can put debt amount. And let's take that debt amount and multiply that debt by the total. Did I just multiply it by the total equity considered? So that's what we're assuming. Now, of course, what you could do is you put this in. You could just directly put it in. Now let's put the debt. Let's put, how about an interest rate? No, this interest rate is not like interest rates anywhere else. I'm just going to put a 12% interest in. It might be a lot higher. Okay, and now we'll put a sweep percentage. I'm going to put 100%. Now, actually, why don't we do this? We'll put debt to EBITDA, and then percent sweep. Okay. Okay, and if it's, let's say if it's, how about 4 times and above, we're going to sweep everything. If it's 3 times, we'll sweep 70%. If it's 2 times, we'll sweep 50%. And if it's 1 or below, we won't sweep anything. And then we can, why don't we also put well, let's just leave it all as a sweep. What that will do is allow some refinancing of cash. That's fine. Okay, and then, so I think that's enough financing. No, we of course have to pay a fee. So let's put an upfront fee, and maybe let's make that 2%. Okay, and that gives our financing section. Okay, and I think what we should do here is include two more on our transaction. Let's put an exit multiple. Now this is a big debate whether this exit multiple will be the same as the entry multiple and a holding period. Some people actually assume it's going to be even higher. Let's put a 5-year holding period. And we want to make a flexible assumption, so we could make it 5 years or 6 years or 7 years. We can change it all around, okay? I just pressed Shift Control C, and I also took a bite out of my sandwich. Now, after we put the financing in, I think, let's put some accounting assumptions. No, here's what, I'm not going to write up any of the assets. Screw that. Let's keep it simpler on this one than that. And I think we're just about ready to really start our whole model. Let's make a sources and uses. Now, after we put the uses here, and then we put the sources, and then we get somewhere we'll put the debt here and the equity. Okay, and then after we put the sources and the uses, we can put the goodwill analysis. And on the goodwill analysis, we start with consideration and take away the existing equities, and then we put the goodwill. Now, I'm not explaining that enough, but it really does work. Normally you have to add back the asset reductions, you have to do all sorts of other things. Okay, and what I think we should also put here somewhere is, I forgot here, an advisory fee. So and let's make that 1.5% of the enterprise value. No, of the equity consideration. Okay, and then, what we can also do is put some synergies. And for the synergies, let's put, how about we start with this one, whatever date we had, plus 1 now. Let me move that here. And then let's just add this. So the synergies, this is of course a subject of a debate as to what you really will be able to achieve. I don't like this. I think we make this a little bit wider. Okay, and how about percent? How about we'll put EBITDA, percent of EBITDA. Now, and then we can put base case, and then we can put best case, and then we can put low case, and then we can put no synergy case. Okay, and then we're going to use a code. Okay, and in our base case, maybe we'll put minus 10%. Here's what we have to spend: some money, 0%, 5%, 12%, 15%, and let's just keep it at 15%. Maybe you could get more, okay? In our best case, we say, okay, let's only minus 5%, 10%, 20% shift control off. And low case, minus 5%, minus 10%, 12%, minus 5%, minus 2%, minus 2%. It could even be negative, and then 4%, and we'll just, oops. There are all these famous cases of negative synergies. I could make an argument for zero synergies, okay? That's what we do. And then, to make this all work, we put equal index. We do the standard kind of index thing where we press the F4, shift control R, delete, shift control 5, and we change our code number. And if you want to go really fast, you go to the developer, go to insert, go to this one, and we shade this like this. Right click, go to format control, go to input, go to a different model, back to this model, click on base case, no case, on all that, go to the cell link, same thing, different sheet, back to this sheet, click on the number 2, and we've got our different synergy assumptions, okay? And finally, we don't really need this. I just hate to get too caught up in this, but I'm going to do it. And we're going to put a pro forma balance sheet. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to start with the we'll copy this. Okay, and then we put, now what we put equal index, and we click on, and we put a comma, but we press F4. And then we're just going to copy it across. We of course don't need this, and we don't need this, and I think we're okay. Okay. And here we'll put some here. Let's put some goodwill into it. Okay. And we've got to do something with all of these. And I think we also need to put, we're going to have to put unamortized debt cost. Okay. Cost, or something like that. Okay. And that was a little rude. I took a bite out of my sandwich. And we'll put our goodwill adjustment. And then we can put our new debt. And then we can put our advisory fee. And then we can put the equity adjustment what we do is take that out, and then we put our new equity in, and then we're going to get our total adjustments. And finally, after we get our total adjustments, we can. Why did that not work? Oh, did I do it exactly? That's weird. Total adjustments. Okay, and then we can put our adjusted balance sheet. Okay, and I think what we'll do then is once we have that, we're going to make our acquisition model. Okay, and that's going to be fairly straightforward, really. Okay. Now, the uses are the consideration, but we better add the advisor fees, and we better also add the debt fees, and then we'll put a total, and then we'll add this one and get a total debt and equity, so we can put our consideration up at the top. And then we put our advisory fees, which I guess I'll compute. We should have almost computed them here, but let's just compute that as that by the equity consideration. The debt fees are the upfront debt fee multiplied by the debt amount. Okay. And we press Shift Control 1, and we. I think somebody's watching me thinking, why is this guy talking to himself? Then we put in our debt amount that we're going to issue, and the equity that's important is the difference, and then an alternate equal to get this, and we put in our consideration, and then we take away our existing equity. Now I guess I can cheat on this one, because it's down there, and our goodwill is just the difference. Okay. Okay. Perhaps I'll put a little underline here. Okay, and now we can. Whoops. Okay, and now we can do this. Now we didn't do anything with the cash balance. We put a goodwill in here, so let's put our goodwill, and here's the big rule: everything comes from the sources and uses statement or the goodwill. Okay, and then our advisory fee comes from this one, and I'm going to put the unamortized fee right here. Okay, and then we can put our equity adjustment as taking away, whoops. Now, our advisory fee is a reduction in equity. We take away our existing equity, and then we replace this with new equity. Okay, and what we can do now is simply sum everything up. We stop with the adjustments. Okay. Okay, and Control D, Shift. Okay, and then alternate equal should. Oops, no, it didn't. Why didn't that work? Oh, I didn't know that happened. I guess we have to put a blank in. I didn't know that. I hadn't seen that one before. And then we can copy this here. Let's alternate E. Why did that? That's bizarre. Alt equal down here. Okay, and the good news is, okay, we put an equal sign and get it. And now we can get our adjusted balance sheet together. So we'll, okay, and we add this to this and get another, we get another one, okay? So this is total, okay, okay. And you know what I'm going to start? I'm going to stop here. We've got our balance sheet balanced, and we've got our transaction assumptions started out. Okay, and now we're going to do a little analysis of what it takes to pay back the debt. Blah blah blah. We can put all